My name is Jahan Casey. I am the director of the First Nations Public Service Secretariat, and I am Haida. I'm a member of the Skidegate Indian Band on my father's side, and I grew up in the Lower Mainland, and I'm currently speaking and so grateful to be on the unceded, sorry, I just got another recorded notification, on the unceded traditional territory of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh peoples. And I'm going to ask all of you, I'd love to go around and get to know all of you, but since we only have an hour, please pop into the chat if you can introduce who you are, where you come from, where you're calling in today, and any little tidbit about yourself that you'd like to share. The more we can get to know who's here, the more we'll feel comfortable and be able to tailor these kinds of webinars going forward. This webinar, which is in fact on a Wednesday, our webinars started out as Webinar Wednesdays a number of years ago. We've migrated days through the week, but this one happens to still be on a Wednesday. They're part of our mentorship program that we run at FNPSS, and it's part of bringing First Nations together to share best practices, successes, challenges, experiences with other First Nations. The idea being that we can learn better from each other and do more when we communicate and talk together. So a little bit, I think everyone's probably familiar with Zoom. There is a chat. I can see some of you popping your names and where you're from and your thoughts in there. There is a Q&A button as well. Feel free to put your questions into the question and answer, or you can just throw them into the chat. We'll do our best to monitor both of them and read them out. And before I move on and I introduce our amazing speakers or talk about the subject we're going to be talking about today, I feel like I've done my housekeeping. So hopefully everyone has got their Zoom pieces, and I've allowed enough minutes for some people to trickle into, which was the other part of my plan there. I would like to very much turn it over to Elder Francois Prince, who will provide a more appropriate opening than mine for this, and start us off in a good way today. Francois is from the Notraco. We have been honored to have her participate in a number of our FNPSS events. And Francois, thank you for being here. Over to you.
Hadi Francis Prince le Suzy Nakasli Teschuk so much used to today and it's in I'm going to do a prayer for gatherings for you to open up your day in a good way. So I'll just do the prayer in my language and I'll translate it, and then I'll give you a couple of words of encouragement to go through your day. And thank you for inviting me, and always honored and happy to help this way. To Tazar, not those ne but the name is the true and Cardiff ne bacha, when ne babayas, the Gandhilazi ane, Dala Hanipe Hotnin soda, ne bahaya, stuck as the way in Doya Hotisa, because Gandhila and it next in a Gani Nelsi, Igala Nastas way, the Atla and Cardane Naste Iga, the Dichi. Is also Atlan D and Carne Baila. It's the out late on in D and Cut Pangan, Hote, Hanai, that I chanto, Zachte, the out and Zastan wasn't on a Baila. Atla and Cardicine wasn't a bar hote. Nasal tone, the quarter, Benea to stuck the out, Otse, Hanul, and Huala the state, and they wasn't as Ninja Stita to be whom sit in Lahole at Huanes, at Nerahan, I think, and Tahone, Massinia, Great Spirit, listen well to us. We gather to put words forward for the good of our people and Mother Earth, and in doing so, we speak for the feelings of all who would listen and take heed. We sanction the wisdom of words our elders spoke, past and present. They have spoken, and hopefully these words will be implanted into the minds of our present generations, of all the people, to encourage them towards the survival that is so necessary. Great Spirit, you have truly given us the responsibility to protect what you have created to sustain life on this earth. You have shown us to respect the forests, the rivers, the lakes, the mountains, and all the plants and wildlife so important to all the people. Great Spirit, we ask that you give us and all who speak sanctity of wisdom from the past for encouragement to go forward into the future. We believe that all the people on earth will go further into the turmoils of the future bravely as they listen now. Great Spirit, grant us the wisdom to impart the concerns of the past to make a better future. We say thank you. And just by the talk, from what I understand so far, is a way for people to encourage one another to do their best. And whenever somebody, there's a word in our language, it means, in a slang way, it means good luck. And so, but it translates to do your best. And that's hotz'anah. And that kind of means like put your best effort into it. Always do your best. And I realized that in order to do the best, we have to honor our past, and we have to know our past. And I was talking to one of the last veterans in our community. He passed away now, but when he was alive, I asked him about the fighting in the front lines. And he says, when we're fighting in the war at the very front lines, we had to come to checkpoints. And in those checkpoints, at the checkpoints, they wouldn't let you go into enemy territory unless you can answer 3 questions. And so when you're in battle and you come to these checkpoints, you have to answer these 3 questions. If you answer them, then you're allowed to keep fighting. But if you couldn't answer them, they sent you back. And this is what kind of reminds me of the whole life cycle through the education or through employment or growth or anything. But those 3 questions were: where did you come from? Where are you now? And where are you going? And when he told me that story, I realized a really big thing in my life is that I have to know where I came from in order to know where I'm at, and to know that way I can know where I'm going. And it was really interesting a journey I've had with my elders since then, and you know how everybody says, take care of yourself and then you can take care of others. And that's one thing that I did for myself, was I found out where I came from, where I'm at, and where I'm going. And that's really pushed me to becoming a better person for my community, for my family, for my spouse, for all the relationships that I have, even for you guys today, is that that's what's helped me. So that's what I want to leave with you guys today is hotz'anah, always do your best. And that's about all we can do. So those are my words of encouragement for you. And I thank you again for having me here. Merci,
thank you, Francois, as always, for starting us that way and for your stories and kind words. I'm sitting here perpetually astounded how you managed to just hit on the exact right message and moment, I feel like, for what we need. You spoke about where you come from, where we are, and where we're going. And I think that is what excited me so much about this internship program at Takla Nation when I first heard about it. So many of our First Nations deal with recruiting and retaining staff. And I know that so many of our First Nations want to hire our own members, our own people to work and be part of our government. And part of being important to that is also managing a government in a way that respects and honors where we came from and our culture and our traditional ways of governing and bringing all that forward. And this internship program has been hugely successful in practically filling in the gaps, bringing in youth and individuals who are excited to work at Takla Nation from all that I can tell. They get what looks like phenomenal experience. They're building up Takla Nation for the future, for where they're going. They've got such a bright future ahead of them for the individuals and the nation as a whole. But woven throughout it is that importance of where they came from and the culture and this community that's not forgotten. So thank you so much again, Francois. And with that, I think I've already shared what made me so excited about this internship, and I won't take up any more of your time because I would like to hear from the individuals from Takla Nation. I know we've got the project manager, some interns with us, a number of speakers, and I believe you're going to start with a PowerPoint. So let me see if I've got everybody here. We have Ananya, who is here. We also have Tashyla. I told them that I was going to mess up their names, and I'm already doing it. So I'm going to let them jump in and introduce themselves. And please tell a little bit about where you came from as well, because like I said, you'll do a better job than I will. So I'll leave it over to you.
Thank you, Jehan. Elder Francois, I'd like to thank you for starting us off in a good way. And I'd also like to thank FNPSS, Jehan, Julia, Jennifer, your entire team, to provide us this opportunity to talk to you about the Na Beh Ste Internship Program. I would like to start off by acknowledging, our Chief and Council that has provided funding for the program and as well as supported the program. Without them, we wouldn't be here talking about this. We're joining you from the traditional territory of Tene, so I would like to acknowledge the unceded territory. We have with us 4 of our interns for the year 2022 to 2023. So I'd like them to introduce themselves. To my right is...
Hi everybody, I'm Charlie. I'm the second youngest daughter of Darlene LaRose and Paul Charlie. I come from the Bear clan, and I am originally, I grew up from Hagelget's from their band, but I transferred to Takla Nation about 9 years ago. And that's kind of the reason why I joined this internship program, was to get to know my community and where my dad comes from, and to learn more about how the band operates. So it's been a privilege to be here for the past 8 months, 6 months, 7 months. But yeah, it's been really great. Thank you.
I am Kirsty Abraham. I'm the daughter of Smithy Abraham and Tana Young. I come from Frog Clan, and I am from Takla Nation, but grew up in Prince George. Moved out in elementary school for education and kind of just go back for work. I am the mentor for the internship. I was in the last round. The last round of internship. And throughout it, it's been quite a journey, a lot of learning, a lot of experiences, and now I'm just hoping we get these interns the same.
We have Amber joining in virtually from Takla Nation. Amber, can you hear us? Are you able to introduce yourself?
My name is Amber Lynn Abraham. I am 28 years old. I am from the Beaver clan. My parents are Anne and Andrew Abraham. My grandparents are Johnny and Susan Abraham. And I joined this internship back in last July, and it's coming to an end in June. I wanted to learn and get more knowledge in the office work since I've been out of it for a few years. And so far it's been going great. And yeah.
Hey, hello, everyone. I'm Tashyla and Teschuk. I'm 19 years old from Takla Nation. I was born and raised in Prince George, BC. I sit with the Bear and Wolf clan. I'm the youngest daughter of 4 and have three amazing, beautiful older sisters. My mother is a hereditary chief, Anita Williams from Takla Nation, and my father is part Ukrainian and European. I joined the internship to get a feel for what I want to do with my nation. I wanted to find a career to pursue my education further and bring it back to my community and people. I joined the internship in October of 2022 and I'll go until September of 2023. I've been working for my nation since I was 15. I started out with our SWEP, which is the Student Work Experience Program. It goes throughout the summer on community. Growing up, I went back to community occasionally, just with school and my sports. I could only go back on holidays or during the summertime. But with the internship, I have been able to go back to my community almost regularly and see my family, which is very nice. I'm hoping I can be a positive outcome and success story for my younger youth of my community. I want to be able to show our youth that they can get the education and they can get the career that they want to pursue and that is their dream. They are our future leaders and our future. So I'm hoping that with this internship, we can definitely bring in more youth that want to come and work for their nation. I hope you all will enjoy our presentation and maybe learn a little bit more about our community and our internship program. Marissa, thank you.
Hello, I'm Leah French. I'm 20 years old and I'm from Takla Nation. I'm part of the Bear and Wolf clan. My grandmother was Maureen Williams. My grandfather is Ronald French, and my great-grandparents are Cecilia Williams and Frank Williams. I chose to join the Na Beh Ste Internship Program to expand my knowledge on multiple career opportunities so I can have a deeper understanding of what I want to go to post-secondary schooling for. I also want to learn more about my cultural heritage. It is vital for me to have this information so that I can advocate and teach others of my culture. I started my journey with Takla Nation in June of 2022. I have already learned and experienced an incredible amount. I'm eager to see what the future holds for me with the nation as I track through my remaining time as a Na Beh Ste intern. Marissa, thank you.
Takla Nation's mission is we, the Takla First Nation, will work together towards creating a sustainable, healthy, and prosperous community that is grounded in our cultural heritage and respectful of our traditional lands. Takla Landing is approximately 4.5 hours northwest of Prince George, BC. We have roughly about 900 members and about 300 are currently living on reserve. Takla is right on Takla Lake that was used to travel by boats, canoes, etc. by our ancestors. When there were railroads installed, we traveled by trains to get to our community. It wasn't until the 1950s that we finally got forestry service roads installed. We have elected chief and council. Chief elections are held every 4 years, and within those 4 years, 2 councils cycle through every 2. We have fully serviced community with RCMP, a store with groceries and fuel, a hotel and restaurant, a school that runs from K to 9, a daycare, health clinic, and administration office. We are an isolated community. The closest town is Fort St. James, which is about 2.5–3 hours on paved and rough forestry roads. We are accessible to hunting and fishing and trapping all year round. Takla Landing is approximately 27,250 square kilometers. The territory is a rich environment of lakes, lakes and rivers and forests and mountains. Bordered on the West Skeena Mountains and on the east by the Rocky Mountains. Currently, Takla First Nation has 18 reserves. The main community Takla landing lies within is IR number 7 and 7A. The background information on the internship, Takla Nation leaders came up with a vision of creating an internship that would be a period of 11 months working full-time with their nation. 4 youth would be supported and go through a normal interview and hiring process. The first year of the internship was running in 2021. The internship is to give Takla youth the opportunity to be in placements throughout different departments. With this internship, not only does it give work experience, but it also gives them the chance to come back to our community. The internship is back and forth from community and territory lands to the finance office in Prince George. There's multiple departments within Takla Nation that interns have a chance to work for. For example, our finance, education, communications, lands, human resources, and many more. There's many amazing opportunities leaders want interns to be a part of, which include our chief and council meetings, and being a part of our AGA, which is our annual general assembly.
The first year of the internship running, there was also 4 interns, Jaden French, now the tourism program manager, Christy Abraham, program supervisor and tourism program assistant, Owen Abraham, mechanic, and Marlena Patrick, casual worker for EDI. The past interns helped create and show what works and what isn't so efficient for the future interns. The interns were able to substitute in classes and other education tasks on reserve, help plan and attend community events, work in front desk and admin at our health station on the community, working communications, firewood preparation for elders on reserve. The past interns also attended high-level planning and/or business meetings for Takla Nation. In a few slides, we will also talk about their main projects they were a part of. Previous interns were offered positions that suited them and were given the option to continue with the nation or to take their learned skills elsewhere and to continue growing.
You met our current interns, which is myself, Leah, Amber, and Kashana. We have worked on many projects with the nation. With many departments, we have been a part of the reconciliation for residential school survivors by organizing and helping with the coming home ceremony. We attended a youth forum, an economic forum with BCAFN in Vancouver, BC. We attended and helped, but also gained knowledge in assisting with the fisheries. We learned how to do multiple proposals and grants to assist other departments. We have learned a lot of traditions so far. For example, Leah and I got the experience to go trapping on our land with the tourism department. Throughout our experience with the Na Beh Ste internships, we have learned and achieved personal and professional skills, knowledge of our land and culture, along with other teachings that will follow us in our everyday lives. The first group of interns successfully took on many highlights and huge projects and overcame many different challenges. The interns assisted and supported the youth and elder department by interviewing our residential school survivors. It was a tool to find a way to help our survivors on a healing journey that they envisioned. They were a part of planning the coming home ceremony for the residential school survivors. It was a healing initiative so our survivors can say goodbye and finish their journey from residential school by being brought back home to community. The people they loved were able to welcome them back home and continue with the ceremony. They had the opportunity to go on a medicine gathering trip with the Uzedea, which is Uncle's Journey. It's a youth diversion program that is managed and envisioned by Alan Teschuk. And the Driftwood Apprenticeship Program, which is managed also by Michael Schneider. They also created the Takla Guide Outfitters from the bottom up. They designed the logo, branding, and came up with a name, creating pricing and finding products and different adventures. A big one was also researching Takla's different territories and what our territory can offer for each place. This tourism department is still up and running. It was a huge accomplishment for our previous interns. With this, they travel to Europe yearly for hunting exhibitions to start relationships in the guiding world and to gain and continue support. Created a whole department for the management and outfitters. Previous intern Jaden French is the manager of the department, and Kirsty Abraham is the assistant.
Us interns have had a few main projects as well that has not only benefited us, but our community and nation as well. We assisted in many events for the community, but have also helped and set up community meetings and gatherings. The coming home ceremony was a huge gathering for our community and survivors. This ceremony was from July 11, 2022 to July 15, 2022. The survivors first had a ceremony at Mouse Mountain and Fraser Lake. Survivors also had a ceremony at the Lake Jack site. They then either flew or drove back to community where they were welcomed home by the community and their loved ones. The ceremony was continued with a workshop and an elders bingo. The survivors had a blanket ceremony by Chief French and individual family members while the community witnessed and honored their strength. Us interns also helped and attended the annual General Assembly for the nation, helped doing setup and prepping for the meetings. We went to meet with the Premier and ministers with Chief French and managers. We attended the LEAP conference for women, which had incredible speakers and taught us amazing things. I was given the opportunity to do a write-up in the Magic Safari Lodge magazine for Jaden French. And it has been seen all over the world within the guiding community. We currently just finished doing a book for the coming home ceremony to help other communities and our own people in the future. So Tashyla, Charlie, and I have been working on the coming home ceremony book, and we're very excited for it because it's going to be shown to community, to schools, and hopefully to people within the government. And this book explains how we were able to support our residential school survivors, and it's being published by Takla Nation. On November 30th, 2022, myself and fellow intern Tashyla Charlie had the extraordinary opportunity to meet the Premier of British Columbia, David Eby. We traveled from Prince George to Vancouver to take part in the meeting. We attended the meeting with Chief John French and Youth and Elder Manager Tamitha French. The purpose of the meeting was to build a relationship between Takla and Premier David Eby, as we once had with previous Premier John Horgan. We made our introductions with one another, then proceeded with Chief French gifting Premier Eby with wolverine hide and a pair of hide mittens handcrafted by Elder Cecilia Williams of Takla Nation. Chief French spoke upon the success of the current and previous Na Beh Ste interns. He also spoke upon the healing initiatives created by Tamitha French for our residential school survivors. This led into a discussion of what can be done to improve our land, animals, and our community. We enclosed our time with small talk and photographs as a group. This was so impactful, and it is one of the main highlights I have had in my internship duration so far.
On November 14th, myself and intern Lynn Abraham had the opportunity to travel to Ottawa and meet with the federal government. We sat alongside to Chief French, General Manager of Operations Scott Hickling, Youth and Elder Manager Tamitha French, Youth Diversion Manager Alan Teschuk, and Residential School Survivor Larry Dominic. On this, we attended many different meetings. We talked about the reconciliation for residential school survivors, and the healing initiative and the different process that we did, and hoping that we could continue to do that for our survivors and to give them that healing that our community would be able to support them in. We also talked about the expansion of the youth diversion program and for it to continue going on, because we did see that it helped our youth a lot. We visited the Parliament buildings, which was an unbelievable experience that was amazing. We talked about our infrastructure, and we talked about our caribou recovery initiative. We talked about our dropping numbers of caribou and how it is in a very low number that is very close to being extinct, and we're wanting to heal that and wanting to find a way that we can stop it from going. My goals when I leave this internship is building relationships not only with my community, but also with future employers. I also want to continue learning my cultural and traditional ways. I want to learn trapping and hunting and setting net and using my ancestors' ways before I don't have my elders to guide me. I want to pursue my education further and start my career and come back to my community. I want to start to travel and learn more about Indigenous cultures and traditions all over the world. I want to learn my language so I can be frequent and also teach it to our younger generations that are continuing to come.
My goals after my time as a Na Beh Ste intern is to continually visit my community to learn my traditions and cultures as I have done during my internship. I want to annually visit to help and support my elders and to take part in events to continue my connection with my people. I also plan to go to post-secondary school to build a career for myself so that I can bring my skill set back to the community to help the growth of my nation. We would be happy to try our best to answer any questions about the internship or Takla Nation. If we don't have the knowledge to answer your question, we will definitely bring it back and get into contact with you.
We want to thank you all for taking the time and coming on and hearing about our internship. We also want to thank FNPSS for giving us this opportunity. We want to give a huge thank you to our nation and our leaders of Takla Nation. Thank you, Takla, for the ongoing support and amazing opportunities that come our way. And thank you to suppliers and supporters of Takla Nation. A big thank you to Ananya for designing and being the manager of this program and also helping with giving us these amazing opportunities.
Thank you. Thank you, all of you, every single one of you, Leah and Berlin, Tashyla. I'm going to miss a couple of you. Christy, thank you for sharing both your personal experiences, what you got out of the internship, all of the history and background, your knowledge, and enthusiasm is visible. It's fantastic. I was smiling the whole way through to the point where I almost felt silly after a while. I was just in perpetual happiness. And I saw some notes in the chat of Sheena in particular, who says she's a proud sister. She absolutely should be, Sheena. I think every single one of you should be incredibly proud of yourselves. And we do now have time for questions. Again, for anyone who wants to ask a question, please, you can raise your hand, turn your camera on and ask away yourself. If you're shy, if you're more shy, you can put your question in the chat or in the Q&A. We'll happily read it out and respond to them. And anything that you want to hear, or if you have comments or thoughts about, how this could work in your nation, absolutely, this is the time to ask. And as that gets going, I'm just scanning my screen here to make sure I'm not missing anybody. We did have some questions that were emailed in ahead of time with registration. I also have a couple of questions for the group that I've been wanting to ask, but I won't be selfish and take up the time yet. But maybe we could jump in. A very specific question that we got from the group, and it related to how you support the interns that are chosen for the program. So one of the questions we got through registration, is this program for local residents only, or is there accommodation available for anyone interested traveling from another city?
So the internship program is for Takla members, and it is for on reserve or off reserve members. So for instance, Leah, she was in Kelowna when we recruited her, so she had to move to Prince George, and she commuted from Prince George and Takla when needed for the internship. So Takla members, on reserve, off reserve.
There you go. And is there support provided for if she comes into community?
Yeah, so we do help out with accommodation and travel allowance. And we try to do that throughout the internship. So if they have to travel, as Takla is quite far away, and they have to go out for events and everything. So yeah, we do provide travel and accommodation allowance for the program.
Perfect. I have a feeling something that everyone's probably thinking and asking. How is it funded? Is this all through Takla own source revenue?
Yes, Takla Nation Chief and Council funded the internship program through own source revenue for both the years. And it's been amazing, and we are trying to get more partnerships, more funding, so we can expand the program and we can offer it to more youth, but also for continue it for in the future.
Fantastic. My last follow-on question from that. Do you have more applicants than you can take because of restraint? Like if you expanded, do you have more youth and interns coming in who want to do it? Or you mentioned recruiting. Are you actively going out and seeking out Takla members to participate?
So it's a bit of both. I think, yes, we always have more applicants than we can take on, just because, this is an amazing youth internship program, and, we try to do our best. But at the same time, we also want to reach out, because we have a lot of members like Takla. In the community, we have 250 members, but most of our members are off reserve. So we are trying to, do more, reach out to more members so we can, bring more people in. So it's a little bit of both. But what we also do through this internship program, when we do our interviews, we want to make sure that, youth who apply know that there are other positions within the nation that they can be part of. So we try and make sure that, everyone sort of has a place within the nation, whether they're part of the internship program or they take up another position, or they, are, part of the SWEP program or any of the other programs that Takla has at the time ongoing.
Thank you. And that's similar to a question Shelby put in the chat. Thank you. She was wondering how the interns found out about the program and what kind of outreach is taking place. So you covered a bit of that, Ananya. I'm wondering first if you have anything to add to elaborate on how that outreach goes. And I'm really curious to hear from the interns. Each of you, how did you find out about this program and decide it was something you wanted to do?
So I'll answer your first part. So we do have an active Facebook page, as you've seen. We also have our Takla Nation website. We try and do communication outreach through videos, through mailing lists, through hosting sessions in our office, so that we can get a lot of our youth involved. We also have different youth programs where we talk about the different programs that the nation has to offer. So internally and externally, we try to reach out as much as we can. And then, you'll hear from the interns how they found out about the internship.
Hi, again, I'm Tashyla. I found out by the communications director, Shiana Williams, which is also my sister. And yeah, she does a great job with keeping the community updated and keeping the website ongoing and our Facebook page. So it's really easy to find the information and to find out about these little things and just keep in touch, because she's doing an amazing job at that. So that's how I found out.
I can't really remember. I think it was either Facebook or I was already on Takla Nation's website and just came across it.
I found out through the Takla Nation Facebook page, from the job posting on there, and I also, my niece, who was a previous intern, really encouraged me to apply for it too, so, that's how I found it.
Great. Leah, maybe?
Yes, I discovered the internship through Youth and Elder Manager Tamitha French. She reached out to me and told me how great of an opportunity it was. So I thought that I'd apply for it and I got the job. So that was pretty cool. And yeah, that's how I found out.
Lynn?
My name is Lynn. I found out through the Facebook page, and the previous intern, Kirsty, encouraged me to join, so I joined.
That's great. I don't think I missed anyone, did we? No, I don't think so. What I love is the encouragement from previous interns. That to me is the sign of a really successful program. If the people who came before us saying, you have to do this, it was great. It speaks very highly to it. I'm going to go back to the chat again. Marissa Leon asked for more information basically on how the program is set up. So application process, start dates, end dates, logistics. What's your wage that you pay for the interns themselves? Like, what have you found that you've had to support or beyond any of the pieces? How do all those logistical application pieces come together?
That's actually a great question. So we designed the program model to make sure that, we not only include, pieces that are, normal to an internship, but we go above and beyond that. So for instance, with the application process, all youth have to answer a couple questions. They can write a letter of interest, they can make a video or a poster, and it's more related to why they want to be part of this internship program. And also a question about how the youth can be more involved with the community and what is it that they would like to see with the nation, how they want to be involved and what kind of programs and opportunities that they want to see. So we go through that. We have an internship advisory committee that sort of sees throughout the program, as well as a hiring panel that's established. And, we interview everyone that has applied, and we try to provide feedback on the interviews, and as well as, when we select the interns, we try and give an orientation to them and make sure that not only they meet with chief and counsel, all the department managers, but for the previous interns. So there's, an onboarding process, and then they start their placement. So with this internship program, what we did was, we made sure that the interns at least got placed with a few departments within the nation. So, we target to 5 to 7 departments at a time. But again, it just depends, given, what departments have project, and sometimes you have needs that a program and, we want to support them. So with the placements, it's usually 2 weeks to about 4 weeks with every department, but they can go on for more weeks if there is a need. We also offer this incentive where when an intern finishes a department placement, they can get a performance bonus up to $500, which is amazing, because every placement they do, and they of course have to do a review with their manager and supervisor, and they can get that extra incentive. The wage is $20 an hour for 7 hours a week, but of course we try and make sure that we help out with accommodation, with travel, and all sorts of professional development that they're registered for, and trips that they go on, and all of that. So there's support through that. And I think there was a question about accommodation, I think. So Leah is the first one who had to come to Prince George for this program, because we've only had it for 2 years. And the past year we had all the interns from Prince George, and so we didn't have to do that with Leah. she was able to find, a home right away. And so she was staying with family, so we didn't have to, help her with that, but we supported her in terms of her travel and whenever, she needed to go to the community. I hope that answers all of that, but if I missed something, please let me know.
I'm guessing, given that it's a 2-year program, examples like if someone had to come to Prince George and didn't have family to stay with would be an issue you'd address then, and sort of on a case-by-case basis as they come up. Does your advisory board support with any of those policy type decisions, or how are those types of decisions made?
Yes, so they are part of, the entire program structure. So every year when we sort of start the program, we have an initial meeting and we go through like, hey, what worked, what didn't work, what should we do this year? How can we do more outreach and, sort of figure those pieces. And of course, this is our 2nd year. It's a 11-month program. So it's, where of course, every year we have, like last year we had 2 girls and 2 boys. This year we had all 4 girls. So every year it's changing and it's different, and every year they're doing different things. So they sort of support all those pieces and, the policy pieces as well of like, okay, what else can we offer them? And we also hear back from the interns as well. Their feedback is very important. So for instance, when they finish their orientation, they provide a feedback. When they finish their department placements, they provide feedback. And when they finish the internship program, they provide feedback. And that has sort of helped us quite a bit. So with the previous round of interns, they provide a lot of feedback on how we can make this, more something that all interns or all youth look forward to. Last year was a little bit different because we did it during the pandemic year, so a lot of it was virtual and we couldn't do as much in-person meetings and engagement. But this year we have tried to do it all in person, as well as because this is a group internship. We try and make sure that the interns get time in the community, but also in the office. They also get to build those strong peer relationships that'll take them forward in their future.
Thank you. Marissa just saying she missed the start date. And then after that, maybe Kirsty, Shelby's wondering about your role as the mentor.
So with the internship, it's different every year because it has to go to the Chief and Council for approval for funding. And once that is, but once we seek the funding from from Chief and Council. So last year was January 2021, and we ran the internship program for a year. This year, all the interns actually started on different start dates. So every year it's sort of different, but we try and make sure that at least it's an 11-month program, and hopefully we can start it on January every year because we want to make sure that they are done their internship or close to finishing their internship, say if they want to go to post-sec education, support them in that way. But every year it's been different so far.
Okay, so the mentor part. The way I kind of look at it is and that is helping hand when, she's got some other stuff to do. And I kind of, how do I, like?
So with Kirsty, one thing that I really wanted was to make sure that, we have a previous intern actually sort of running the program. So for most of you here, I actually joined Takla Nation as a First Nations government intern in 2018. And then, at the time, we had a small office and there were only maybe 50 employees, but now we've grown as an organization and there's just so much more that we've all taken on. But my hope was that, we'll have an intern from the program that would actually take over the management part of it, the supervision part of it. So that was my sort of, I wanted to really build some of our interns and see if they would be willing to take this on so that, maybe Kirsty can one day, become the Na Beh Ste internship manager. So that was the hope, and she's been incredible, and also it's really nice because they're now the interns are much closer in the age group, so I can hear a lot of the feedback. So that's also nice, and they've been through the program, so they always try to help each other out. And there's just things that you it's really nice when you have when you have that rapport, like Amberlynn said, you know, she got Kirsty to sort of join her in the program. So it's just more outreach as well.
Thank you. And Kirsty, you can tell you're doing good when your job description is really just helping hands to respond, to be ready. That's exactly the kind of thing a mentor should do.
Yeah.
And it sounds fantastic. I know that we're coming up on about 5 more minutes. So if anyone else has another question, please jump in or put it in the chat. Raise your hand. There was one more that came in with our registration. Specifically, how could other nations use a project like this? What would you recommend another nation do to get started on something like this? If they said, wow, I want to do this, what should they start with?
I think for Takla Nation, it was Chief and Council, Chief John Allen French, you know, had this vision of incorporating our youth in, you know, nation building and leadership training, and just have them, you know, it's part of succession planning. We want our nation to have young leaders. So it was, you know, a push from the leadership, to be honest. Like, you know, we were told like, hey, you know, this is what we want. And then, you know, we had, at the time we had Catherine Wishart, who was an advisor to the nation, as well as she had a lot of post-secondary experience. So she sort of helped develop the program model, and we took on from that. But I would say, you know, talk to your leaders, you know, let them know that, hey, we really want our youth to be part of, you know, these amazing, you know, phases of nation building and growth. And, you know, and now the interns, you know, they sit with the leadership in chief and council meetings. They accompany them when there's high level meetings. They also get the opportunity to be with them on the land and, you know, learn about the culture, the history, and just be part of that. So I would say it's definitely a push from the leadership.
Thank you. And it sounds like this would be a success story that another nation could bring to their leadership and say this will work. Look at how it works. Another call for any more questions for the group. And if not, I never pause long enough because I want to get my question in if I can. It has only been a 2-year program. And like you said, Chief is very, well, it was his vision, supportive now. Ananya, we can tell that how much work you're doing on this program. You know it intimately, all those pieces. So many of these programs are only as successful as the people that are running them and the people that champion through them. That's part of succession planning. So what are you doing to make sure that this program continues when Chief moves on or Ananya finds another position? How does that continue on and stay? How does the passion and enthusiasm stick?
That's a very, very good question, Jihan. And that's part of our program planning in the future as well. Like, you know, Chief and Council have supported the program for 2 years now, and we've been very thankful for that. But, you know, our strategy is to, you know, reach out to the feds, to the province, to make sure that, you know, they hear us, they see, you know, that this program has been really successful and fund at least part of it, and, you know, build more relationships, different partnerships, so that we can, you know, have external funding for it, and hopefully the interns themselves bring more funding to it in the future as alumni. You never know, you know how far they're going to go. So it's part of, you know, that forward thinking and, you know, building strategy, and, you know, hopefully that, you know, we have a lot of sort of pieces together, and we really hope that you know, this is something that we're gonna, you know, build on. And like, this is just one program that Takla Nation has. Takla Nation has an amazing youth program. Like, we have so many like young, you know, programs oriented to build our youth. And I think it's amazing to, you know, see so many youth. Like in just 4 years, we've had about like 16 youth or more than that, like that are part of that you see in the nation, you know, offices every day. Like, that's just amazing. So yeah, like, it's just to continue on in this journey. And of course, you know, it's you know, negotiating with the feds and the province oftentimes is not easy, because we did write them letters, and oftentimes we hear like, hey, you know, we've got this Indigenous youth internship program that the province has. And, you know, and it's a great program, but I think what we've found really useful is that every nation sort of has to do their own program building, because every community is different, our needs are different, you know, we have different challenges. And what we found really useful was to create a program that was, you know, catered to our membership, to our needs. And we've tried to make sure that, you know, that's sort of the bread and butter of, you know, when we do the program design. So yeah, it's still, you know, negotiating and of course, applying for more funding through different channels.
Absolutely. I laughed. I think probably everyone on this call has experienced those funding negotiations with different levels of government. We're right at time. I'm going to guess, Jen, do we have a survey, an evaluation survey?
Yeah, so I'm going to send out a survey for everyone if they want to share their feedback or their input. And they can also throw in any additional questions that they have for any of the interns today or for Ananya, and then we can pass those along to them, as well as share their contact information.
Thank you. So please, I know it's one more thing on your very long lists, but if you would take a few minutes to fill out the survey, it helps us plan for future webinars and make sure that they're useful. We really do look at them. It's much appreciated. And we will happily re-engage with Ananya, others from Takla. For anyone who has not yet got the save the date, the FNPSS annual conference is happening in November of 2023. Oh, Jen, the 21st to the 23rd?
Yeah.
Of November,
Yeah.
here in Vancouver. And this is something we did pre-COVID, but it will be our first in-person conference post-COVID. And for eligible First Nation delegates, we will be supporting travel and registration fees for that, and have more conversations like this. And we'll happily facilitate anything we can do to help share information between them. So the survey is in the chat.
It's actually a link to our conference.
Oh, a link to our conference. Thank
Yeah.
you. And Jen's going to email us the survey.
Yeah.
I know that it is 12 o'clock. I will say a huge thank you, and then I'm going to allow a couple more questions in 1 or 2 minutes and let us go over, because Marissa has her hand up and I would like to hear what she has to say.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I forgot to ask, is there still applications open for this year, or are you presenting this for people for next year?
So this year of interns are gonna finish in 3 of them are gonna be done in June, and then 1 is gonna be done in September. And then we have to again take this to Chief and Council, see if we can get approved again, and then you know, that'll be a decision for next year.
Thanks. And I'll sneak in, Ananya, a question just for you, because I met you when you were an intern at, I think, one of our FNPSS policy training. Seems like it was so long ago now. How long have you been a project manager, and how long did it take you to get your PMP designation?
So I became a project manager last year, and I'm currently working on my PMP designation, so it's still in the process. Yeah, I started as an intern with the nation, and then I was a research analyst for the chief's office for, you know, a couple of years. And yeah, I think I'm going to be done my 5 years in July. So it's been a long run, and so happy to be here and, you know, to have learned all the knowledge, and you know, just very thankful and grateful to be able to be part of this amazing nation.
Well, I can't think of a better note to end on. Ananya, your whole team, all of, and we lost one of the interns. Thank you to all of them. It's lunchtime. Really, I appreciate all of your time, everyone who joined. Again, I appreciate all of your time. And Ananya, please pass along our thanks to your leaders and Takla Nation for allowing the time.
Jihan, actually, we have our Chief French here, and he'd like to share a few words.
Hello, Chief French. I was just thanking the group, your amazing group of interns. Please go ahead.
Aren't they beautiful? We're somewhere up there.
Yeah, you're up there. Yeah.
There we go.
It's not a here.
Hi.
I gotta get going pretty quick, but what is this? What is the webinar?
We're just sharing about the Na Beh Ste internship program with FNPSS group, and Jehan is she's the director for FNPSS, and they do like these knowledge sharing webinars with other communities.
Okay, cool. Cool. I just want to make sure. I know who I'm talking to here. You're not like some government representative.
I don't believe we have any government on the call, all other First Nations and our organization.
So, okay, so Takla Nation, we started the internship a while ago. The interns this is the second group of interns. Kirsty's from our first group of interns. We run for 1 year. We sponsor the internship through Leadership Table, own source revenue. We don't get any funding or anything. We believe that the internship is the youth are very important to the nation's future, and that we want them to learn our business here at Takla. We want them to learn their business someday. They are the future leaders. How do we get them involved more so in the nation's business, to understand what the nation looks like, all the moving parts of the nation, and to also have their input and their insight from a youth's perspective as we move through it. We sort of created the design ourselves. We struggled through COVID and things like that. We definitely have some challenges, which is normal, and we have a lot of positive outcomes and feedbacks as well. One of the struggles we have as First Nations, and I believe a lot of part of any, even at government level or industry level, retaining staff is really difficult. And so for us as a First Nations group, it's really important that we're trying to retain our own people as much as we can with knowledge. And there's got to be a mechanism to bring them into the fold, so to speak, the youth, the young people, to just understand all this business, and then their ideas will come to fruition at some point. However, if they decide to go and do other things and be totally something else out there in the world somewhere, we fully encourage that and support that as well. First, we will try and have them, stay with us. But if not, we fully understand and support that, and we encourage that. So we think we share a lot of knowledge here. It introduces them. Another great thing it does for Takla too, though, the last one, it was really prevalent that we have some members that aren't that are living in urban areas, and they're not that connected to their homelands or their people back home. One of the interns on the last go around really connected to the people from her own community, and it was just amazing to see that. She met more family and that, and I think even in this round probably happening with Kashan too. She's more from the urban area, but really coming back and meeting the rest of the community members. And learning more about her nation, and we hope that continues to grow out. So the council really we're proud of this work. I think for us on our side of the table, the biggest thing it does for me as a leader, I am quite hard on our interns a little bit too. Like I want them to just, I don't know, I'm a bit old school, I'm a little bit hard, like I want to be hard on our youth. I want to be hard on my kids, because I just don't want them to make the mistakes I made in life. I want to try to drive some things home and without them going through it. However, trial and error is probably the best teacher, and people will learn on their own. But I do speak to our interns quite hard sometimes, and because it's done out of our love. But the biggest thing that they bring to me is, a lot of times when we are stressed out and we're down and out with just being in this whole political field, with the opioid crisis and the First Nations history that we have with residential schools and all these announcements and different things that come out that affect us and our people so much, we sort of get tired in the system. But when I see the group of young people here, it reminds us of what we're actually here for. And they're right there in our face and then say, well, this is not about me, it's not about my feelings, it's not about that. This is about this and the future. And so if you go to bed and you wake up, you try again another day. And so that's, they bring us a lot to the table too. And I'm really proud of our program. We did advocate to government to help us out with this, and it's gone nowhere. And we didn't even ask them for funding or anything. We asked if our interns would go spend some time within their organization, as in Parliament, to say, well, what does reconciliation, what are the discussions that government has about reconciliation with our people inside government? If they were to enter that one office that actually has, or that one boardroom that actually talks about reconciliation, could our interns go and be a part of that to, it's kind of what they do to us. On the other hand, they send their interns into our communities to build a relationship for them, which is essentially what they do. And so, I tried to reverse that, but we never, did we even get a response?
We got a response and they just referred us to the Indigenous Youth Program that the government has.
Yeah, they just went back to that. Like I was trying to create something bigger and better, but
Chief, we may be able to help you with that. FNPSS has an MOU with all 47 federal government departments that have presence in BC. And I know a number of departments that I think would be really interested in that. For everybody else, they're the kind of connections I love. Chief, you should be so proud of your program. You've hit on the magic. You can just tell from the interns' faces, Ananya's commitment, all of the reasons you listed out, the benefits to community, the succession planning. But I think your plans to try to integrate it into government and make it bigger. I would love to talk to you about that more. So we can follow up on that.
Absolutely, you can set that up through Ananya. She's worked into my office there, so she definitely knows my schedule and stuff. I would really like to talk about that because I did want the youth to go, and whether they spend a little bit of time in Victoria or whatever, we just want to see if they could get inside that to see what their side of things looks like, right?
So critical.
And but so far they haven't let us open that door. If you can help us with that, that would be very, very special. So
I definitely don't speak for them, but I would love to try and coordinate that. And for the sake of everybody who's on the webinar, I appreciate it. Please, you can tell that I'll just jump in and talk to anyone about any connection, even in the middle of a webinar. So please feel free to reach out to me if there's ideas like that from your nation that we can join into. And Chief, thank you so much for stopping by just to close us off. We were just closing and that was the absolute perfect summary of everything the interns had said so far. So thank you very, very much for your time. And thank you for loaning us your intern group for an hour today. They were fantastic.
thank you. That's maybe a bit long-winded, but thank you for
Never.
Thank you.
Thank you all.